tribal trails.
You might think that God cannot use you. Listen to our next guest.
Hello, my name is Jordan Fosnuv. I'm from Cumberland House, Cree Nation. I grew up there my whole life. And today I just want to be talking a little bit about how God can use young people. And the story that we'll be reading this morning or today from is found in 1 Samuel chapter 17. Verses 12, it says this. Now David was the son of a man named Jesse, an Ephrathite, from Bethlehem in the land of Judah. Jesse was an old man at that time, and he had 8 sons. Jesse's 3 oldest sons, Eliab, Abinadab, and Shema, had already joined Saul's army to fight the Philistines. David was the youngest son. David's 3 oldest brothers stayed with Saul's army, but David went back and forth so he could help his father with the sheep in Bethlehem. For 40 days, every morning and evening, the Philistine champion strutted in front of the Israelite army. One day, Jesse said to David, "Take this basket of roasted grain and these 10 loaves of bread and carry them quickly to your brother, and give these 10 cuts of cheese to their captain. See how your brothers are getting along, and bring back a report on how they are doing." David's brothers were with Saul and the Israelite army in the valley of Elah, fighting against the Philistines. So David left the sheep with another shepherd and set out early the next morning with the gifts as Jesse had directed him. He arrived at the camp just as the Israelites' army was leaving for the battle with shouts and battle cries. Soon the Israelites and the Philistines' forces stood facing each other, army against army. And further down to verse 32, it says, "Don't worry about this Philistine," David told Saul. "I'll go fight him." "Don't be ridiculous," Saul replied. "There's no way you can fight this Philistine and possibly win. You're only a boy, and he's been a man of war since his youth." It's interesting that David is a young man, and he's finding himself fighting in this war against a man who's been a warrior since his youth. When I think about it, David didn't wake up that morning thinking to himself that he was going to be fighting in a war. Sometimes we feel as though God will put us in different situations and difficult situations, but really it's the most ordinary situations that God calls us to. I can remember a time in my life where I had the opportunity to become a pastor, and I was really scared. I was really afraid of what the future had in store for me. And I remember a time where I was asking God, I said, "Lord, is this what you really want me to do with my life? Is this something that you're calling me to?" And to make a long story short, I took on the role as being a pastor, and I never looked back since. But what started that to where I'm at now was small decisions in everyday life. One of the ladies from the church called me and said, "Would you like to come preach for us?" And I said, "Yes, I would love to do that." And as I started to do that, as I started to preach more and more at this church, one day they approached me and they said, "Would you like to be our pastor?" And immediately I said no, because I was very afraid, I was very scared, and I didn't really fully know what they were asking me. I just knew that I really needed to seek the Lord. I really needed to ask for His guidance. And I could honestly say that becoming a pastor, there's nothing quite like it. For me anyways, and I truly believe that it's my calling in life, there's nothing quite like it. The sense of purpose, the sense of accomplishment, it's all blessings that the Lord has put in my life. And I recognize that it's not just this huge event that got me to that point. It was just small decisions, small things that led me to where I'm at today. And so we see that in the life of David. David was asked by his father to go and check up on his brothers. His father wasn't asking him to go fight in a war. And David woke up that morning and he didn't think to himself, I'm going to kill a Philistine champion today. David didn't think that at all. He woke up that morning and said to himself, I got to tend the sheep, I got to work the plows, work the fields, And when his father told him to go check up on his brothers, one thing led to another. And so it's those small decisions in life that God can really use us. And he used a farm boy. He didn't use somebody who was sophisticated. He didn't use somebody who had been training their whole life. God used somebody that was so ordinary that it even made the king doubt him. But we see that, that he did more than just show up. In verses 48, it says, as Goliath moved closer to attack, David quickly ran out to meet him. Reaching into his shepherd bag and taking out a stone, he hurled it with his sling and hit the Philistine in the forehead. The stone sank in, and Goliath stumbled and fell down on the ground. So David triumphed over the Philistines with only a sling and a stone, for he had no sword. When we look at the story of David and Goliath, it's a story of the most ordinary boy doing an extraordinary thing because he had faith in God. The belief that God was bigger than this man is what drove him to fight in that war. And I think about all the times in my life where so many people, my friends and school teachers and everybody will kind of discourage you to bring you down. They'll kind of want to tell you that you can't do it, that you can't be this person, or that you don't have the potential to be somebody. And I would grow up most of my life believing that I couldn't really amount to anything because that was the only message I ever heard. But when I became a Christian and when I started reading the Word of God, I started to learn that God thinks of me in certain ways, that I'm not a nobody and that I am somebody, that I'm a child of God. And because I'm a child of God, I have His power living inside of me, the strength to get up, the strength to do what He's called me to do. And the times where I felt completely reliant on God were the times where I felt that the Lord has used me the most. And sometimes it's not always in extravagant situations. Sometimes it can be just an ordinary conversation with somebody. You run into somebody and you start talking, and one thing leads to another. And then before you know it, you're inviting this person to come to church where they can hear the Word of God and be changed by it. So it's little things like that where the Lord can use somebody, small decisions that can lead to huge change in a person's life.
People were making him feel like he would never amount to anything. Feelings like, I don't belong, or nobody loves me. These are common problems today. Fear about what your friends may think is also a big hurdle. This has to do a lot with who you hang around with. Friends can build you up, or they can drag you down. It is really important who you choose as your friends. Do you need a friend, or do you fear the future? Put your full trust in Jesus Christ. You may still have doubts and failures, but He has promised to lead you through.